Cruise Control streams live every Saturday starting at 10 a.m. Eastern. Watch us live on Facebook and YouTube. Details are in this podcast's episode information.
This is Cruise Control. Your on-air automotive magazine with co-hosts Fred Staub and Les Jackson. Everything you need to know about new and used cars. Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air. Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin. Because you're on Cruise Control. Cruise Control. Cruise Control.
Welcome back to Cruise Control. This is your automotive, online automotive, on the air automotive.
Yeah, magazine. On the air, online.
We've only been doing this for 20 years plus.
Yeah.
I'll get it eventually.
Just keep going, Les. You'll get it.
Cue card got blurry. Anyway, two big things in the automotive world. One is the Woodward Dream Cruise up in Detroit. Big deal. And Monterey Car Week, which is the kind of high dollar equivalent.
Yeah.
Huge events, very, very popular. And we've been invited to Woodward a number of times. We really need to go.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go there virtually later on and talk about some of the things that have been going on in the world of Mopar. But first, let's talk about something that's going to be revealed at Pebble Beach. And, you know, in the old days, you wouldn't find a Kia being revealed at Pebble Beach, but it's going to happen. And this is the Kia EV6 GT, and it is a 576 horsepower electric vehicle. That's top speed of 161 miles an hour. It has a 77.4 kilowatt hour battery with a 160 kilowatt front motor and a 270 kilowatt rear motor, and it has a drift mode. Isn't that crazy? It has a drift mode, so you can hoon this thing around if you want to.
Yeah, obviously. An awful lot of people like to do that. My feeling is not with my tires.
No, you need a tire manufacturer to support you.
But that's your choice. This thing is incredible. I'm sure it's electrically limited to 161 because, as long as you got battery power, you just keep going faster.
Yeah, the tires are probably the limit.
Tires, a battery charge too. You're going to use up an awful lot of battery.
Yeah,
going fast. And you teased the idea a little earlier that horsepower is not going down; it just keeps going up. I believe that the big goal is 1,000 horsepower.
I think it would be easily obtainable. Actually.
Oh yeah, but I think they want to do it in small steps each year.
Well, there's one vehicle that we're going to discuss next hour that has 1,200. It's electric. I think you might see it go to 2,000, 3,000 horsepower.
But eventually it's not drivable. It's not controllable.
Well, I think the thing will be that these cars will accelerate so hard that people won't be able to physically handle it.
Yeah, you'll get tunnel vision, black out.
Yeah, or they'll just be surprised. They'll hit the throttle at the stoplight and they'll just keep going, But
it will cause a lot of crashes.
Now, we don't know what this is going to cost. We only know some of the information about it. It has a world first 800-volt multi-charging architecture, which enables ultra-fast DC charging from 10 to 80% state of charge in under 18 minutes. We know about that horsepower. We know it has 546 pound-feet of torque, 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds. As we said, top speed of 161, probably limited by the Goodyear Eagle F1 tires fitted on 21-inch wheels. So this thing is going to be incredible. It really is. And, in some of the promo material, they show it doing a big burnout. I think that's got a lot of people thinking about, electric cars and what they can do. We saw this week that they revealed the Challenger concept over at the Mopar Speed Week event, and I don't think we know the horsepower on that, but let's just say it's a lot, right?
It's adequate.
It would be more than adequate. So we're going to talk about that later too, because there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, and actually, in these electric cars, it can do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds or less. That means you really could sticky tape a dollar bill on the dash in front of your passenger and then hit the accelerator, and they won't be able to reach up and pick it up.
The G forces will push them back. Yeah.
Can't do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, when we come back, plenty more cruise control. We're going to talk about Porsche not being able to complete some of their vehicles and why that is. We'll also look at some pricing on some other new vehicles. And stay tuned, because we have that great interview coming up with Lincoln's head of design, talking about the L100 and what it's like to design an interior for an autonomous EV. Stay tuned. Cruise Control is your on-air automotive magazine. Check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com.
Cruise Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staub. He is Les Jackson. We're talking about Porsches leaving the factory unfinished. My idea was they ran out of screwdrivers, but I don't think that's the case, Les Jackson.
No, looks like they're going to have to retrofit
headlights.
This is embarrassing.
Yeah, it's a supply chain problem, and they are awaiting their Matrix headlights for a number of different models, including the Panamera and the Macan. They just are under supply chain issues, and they have to get the cars out. At least, unlike certain chips, that is possible to put these things in at a later date, isn't it?
Well, that's right. And, here's where the war came in. The Ukrainian contractors who make wiring harnesses for them.
Right.
Well, gee, imagine delays there.
Yeah.
This is nasty stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So I believe they were holding these things at the Porsche plant and not delivering them without headlights, and say don't drive it during the day. Only drive it during the day.
How do you drive it when you get it?
Yeah. So delays are out there. That's people say they want to order a vehicle so they don't have to pay the big markups. Well, that's you might get it, but it might be missing a few things, right?
Well, I have a cousin who has a best friend who said that he ordered his Porsche and he didn't get it for almost 7 months.
Wow. Did it have headlights when it came in?
I didn't know to ask.
Yeah. So this is just a reoccurring theme, and it's not just cars. It's everything, really.
It's everything.
Yeah. So I often wanted to track many of the vehicles we've talked about here on Cruise Control. I wonder if they've actually ever been built or have been.
And we kid around every week saying, well, here's this vehicle, if you can find one.
Yeah.
And we're sort of not kidding. It's a real problem.
Yeah, it sure is. So, we'll keep you up to date on that. You know what's a real problem, too? Sometimes keeping your vehicle. And we've got a list, the Hot Wheels theft report. Most stolen vehicles in the U.S., and number 10, Toyota Corolla. Jeep and Grand Cherokee, number 9.
Okay, sort of understand that.
Yeah. And then we've got Honda CR-V at number 8. Number 7 is Nissan Altima. 6 is GMC pickup full size. 5 Toyota Camrys.
Must be there's a pattern here.
Yeah, okay. And then Honda Accords number 4 is comes in at 30,274.
It's a lot.
Honda Civic 31,673. Ford pickups 47,999, and Chevrolet pickups at a very close 48,206. I have some theories on this. Pickups, maybe they're being used at a work site or whatever. People leave the keys in them. Maybe they're more prone to have the keys left in them. What do you think? I don't know.
I think maybe that's true. Plus, they all look alike, in a way.
Yeah, you mean someone just drives it by mistake?
No, I think people take it because they know they could drive in plain sight and not get caught.
Yeah. Also, they probably want the parts that are painted the correct color.
Which brings up the cars, the Civic, Accord, Camry, Altima. I think they're stealing these for the parts market.
Okay, I think it could be true. And of course, then there's that strange story of a social media platform, which I won't mention, that shows people ripping off Kias, inexpensive Kias.
Yeah.
Which is, not a great thing. It's kind of a stupid thing to do. But of course, this is from 2021, and that sort of happened this year. So we'll see more about that.
I'd love to have the data on per state.
Yeah, per state.
If there's a geographic component.
Yeah. Hey, coming up, we are going to talk about an incredible vehicle, and it's incredible the way it opens up. It's the L100 from Lincoln, and and the design of the interior is really, talk about clean sheet. This is an autonomous car. Autonomous self-driving car, electric car, and the interior designer, who we're going to talk to after the break, his name is Michael Thompson. He's the Lincoln interior design chief, and Lincoln's always been known for great interiors, and they have some incredible vehicles out there now that have super interiors. But this one, they really started with a fresh approach, and we want to know what is it like to design an interior for an autonomous car. It's really a clean sheet. You're not saying, well, I got to put the steering wheel up front, and then I've got to, have the passenger sitting here, and the seats will always be facing forward. So this is exciting stuff, folks. And what I love about it, and we're going to ask Michael about it when he comes on after the break, is the carpet. Where you would find carpet is actually some kind of liquid crystal display, which is really unique because normally carpet just lays there and you don't think about it. It's just there, but here it's an actual moving part of the vehicle. And then you also have to deal with the fact that the front seats, they're not going to be used all the time for a driver to sit in there. So this will be an interesting piece. It's going to be coming up after the break. Once again, it's going to be Michael Thompson, Lincoln Interior Design Chief. And it really has to be an exciting time for him and his team, because this is just, it's like designing a living room, basically.
Yeah.
And this is going to become much more prevalent as autonomous cars make their way into the world. But Lincoln has some incredible interiors right now.
They do.
I always thought interior was perhaps the most important area of any vehicle because it's the one you see the most.
I think so. That's what I choose a vehicle for.
And
I make a choice.
And there was that period of time where some manufacturers sort of, used the interior as the cost-cutting approach. And I remember that in the 80s, and I was like, wow, this is it? I have a plastic model that looks better than that. But you can't do that anymore. People expect great interior design and great interior fit and finish. And that's one of the worst things in a vehicle. If you start moving around the controls and they feel ratchety or they're going to come off in your hand, I would think that that is the way to really, make something that people will feel like this just doesn't. Nothing
Turns you off to a vehicle more than the rapid aging of the controls.
Yes. It's also one of the areas of a vehicle that I think ages even quicker than the exterior as far as the design and certainly like infotainment systems and things like that. But Michael's coming up after the break. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com. I'm Fred Staub. He is Les Jackson. And this is one busy week in the world of the automobile, let's just say. And it's always one of my favorite weeks because it is a true contrast. You have the Woodward Dream Cruise, and then you have, of course, Pebble Beach, where we're going to next for some of the higher-end cars. So we will be right back and talk about this incredible Lincoln L100 with the interior designer, Michael Thompson. Stay tuned. We are live every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Watch us on Facebook and YouTube. Details are in this podcast's episode information. And welcome back to Cruise Control Radio, your on-air automotive magazine. I'm Fred Staub. He is Les Jackson, and we are going to talk about this incredible vehicle, the L100, which was shown at Pebble Beach at the Monterey, I believe they call it the Monterey Car Week. But we can ask our next guest, who is Michael Thompson, who is the Lincoln Interior Design Chief. Michael, it's great to have you with us. And tell us a little bit about this L100. It actually is a historic name when it comes to Lincoln, right?
Yes, it is. And thank you for having me, by the way. And allowing me the chance to explain the Model L100. So you're absolutely right. In 1922, Lincoln had the Model L, and of course, it was the first step towards a luxury Lincoln. 100 years later, the Model L100. So we're trying to celebrate a similar thing here, right? So it's a vehicle that is state-of-the-art technology, and it's really an experience-based type of car. We did launch it the day before yesterday. We were in the Monterey Car Week from the Concours Village. We went to the Quill yesterday, and it's going to the concept lawn right now. Where tomorrow it will be actually parked right next to the original 1922 Model L. So it's going to be great to see 100 years of cars next to each other. We're celebrating our anniversary with this vehicle.
Yeah, this is incredible, and I mean, of course, interior design. You probably heard us introing this segment, Michael, but we think Les and I think interiors are one of the most important parts of the vehicles. Because that's your interface. That's your user interface, right? And you had to design, you kind of threw out, you started with a clean sheet here because you had to design a vehicle that is autonomous, which means the steering wheel might not always be there, and the front seat might not always be there. And you kind of had to turn it in many ways into sort of a lounge or living room, didn't you?
Exactly. So this is what, and I love, by the way, saying that the interiors are important. I'm going to tell it to my exterior coworkers as well. What we try to do for the interior is say, okay, so what is a sanctuary space, right? And what could it really be, especially now that we have this Model L100 as a possibility to our vision. So we started off with what we call the king-queen seat, which is the big seat in the back. Because a Lincoln is also about being driven as much as it is about driving. And then we said, okay, so the footrest came in to really get that laid back feel, but there's multiple people in the car. So we actually made sure that there is a flexible seating, as we call it. So from underneath the IP, there is a portion that comes up which creates a backrest. Then it rotates open, so you create even more of a traditional driving position. So it's actually, you see here the social seating, there's the driving position, and there is the solo seating, if you like. And we said, okay, well, the flexibility is something that we want to show off that Lincolns have. Another thing is that we wanted to use the technology in a whole different way. When we created this interior, we said, okay, does there really need to be a big screen in front of you with Netflix when you have such a beautiful car? So we took the technology and actually placed it on the floor, because we found out there you can really change the mood of the vehicle, right? So you see a digital floor, and much like the seating, it allows you to change for occasions, right? Lincoln is a brand about occasion. So whether it's a red carpet event, or whether it's a wedding, or just a sanctuary moment, the floor changes from the water underneath you to personalized pictures to my personal favorite one, which is the clouds, right? So you can adjust it and personalize it. So this interior is very flexible. Now, as far as saying, okay, it's autonomous, but you can still drive it, in these images here, you see what we call the chess piece, because we said, let's really look at what a steering wheel is and change that metaphor, right? So it's a device to control the car. But we didn't want to do a traditional steering wheel, also because of the flexible seating that became harder. So we tasked our designers to think about it. And one of our designers, Near Siegel, was watching his little son play with cars. And he said, that's it. That's it. The moment you have that little car, you start driving it. It's the first interaction almost that most people have with the cars through toys.
Sure.
So we said, okay, let's keep that human touch for that, but make it actually possible. So with our technology and with the digital touchscreen and the connection, we are actually able of doing that. And that way we can place the car strategically so the autonomous mode knows where to go. Or you can actually hook it in the front, where it becomes almost like a joystick. And you can still take control over the car. So I think that's something that makes its interior so unique, that it's not only flexible, but it's almost human. And just to touch on that, the moment you enter the vehicle, the doors open up in a certain way. And the way the doors open up it's like a human embrace, right? When you haven't seen somebody in a while, you open your arms and you're happy to see them. And every time you approach this car, it does that for you, right? So there really is this human warmth to this vehicle that is inviting and allows you to come in.
When you're designing, you're tasked to design the future autonomous vehicle, and by autonomous, we're all agreeing this is fully self-driving. It takes care of everything for you. So it's a conveyance. Instead of thinking it's a piece of hardware, it's really transporting you through wherever. And when you start to design this, are you expected to think what people should have, or are you trying to figure out what people expect without actually ever having experienced it?
I would say that it's more towards the first one, right? Because we tend to look years into the future. So what people expect is kind of what is tomorrow, but what is next week is something we have to determine, and based on our gut feeling, but also our information that we have, we can say, okay, this is what the customer not only wants in the future, but actually expects, right? They even know. So the autonomous thing is that the way we do this, we start out with storyboarding, right? So we actually create these scenarios. It's almost like a movie, and say, okay, this is realistic, what's going to happen around there. And then we start problem solving, because normally after a storyboard, a lot of problems actually show up, and say, okay, how are we going to tackle this? And after that, the design process kicks in. So we really start with the user and the expectations of it, and then we follow through until the product. Now, obviously, for the Model L100, there was another thing that needed to be added to it, which was the celebration of the brand. and they also needed to have that impact, right? Because our customers have many times used Lincolns for occasions in their lives to celebrate. So it was a great opportunity for us to say, okay, let's do that now and do what we're good at, which is celebrating occasions and make that into the car. Our customer always comes first through extensive research, and then to user case storyboarding, and then into design.
Yeah, we are talking with Michael Thompson, who is interior design chief for Lincoln, about what goes through his mind when he has to design these vehicles. And, I guess like everything, Michael, sometimes you have to make some compromises, and it's hard. And sometimes when we drive vehicles, we say, like, why'd they do that? But that's got to be difficult for you as an interior designer. You want something to look a certain way. Like, for example, you look at that beautiful screen in the L100 that is the floor. Someone might say, well, that's great, but, what if I put floor mats on it?
Well, you can do digital floor mats. Yeah. This is actually easier to clean.
Or someone might say, oh, we don't have budget for that. Just paint it white or something.
Yes, and I think there's a difference between a car that is a vision model versus a car that is actually in use, right? So what we're trying to say is that we are having a good look at technology and say, should it only be about information, or can we actually use it to rejuvenate?
Right.
And in this case, we use it as a digital floor. Because we want to show that we're not limited in our thoughts and we're not limited in our creativity.
Yeah.
So if we're saying, okay, the technology can only be to tell me, which how fast I'm going, what my battery charge is, that's pure informational, and it's good. It's good that we have that, but it can't be the only thing.
Michael, we are going to take a break and be right back and talk more about interior design and this wonderful Lincoln L100. So stay tuned to Cruise Control. I'm Fred Staub. He is Les Jackson. That other guy from Monterey is Michael Thompson. We love talking design, and we will do more about it when we come back. Cruise Control is your on-air automotive magazine. Check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back to Cruise Control. I'm Fred Staub. He is none other than Les Jackson, and we are joined by Michael Thompson, who's the Lincoln Interior Design Chief, having a great discussion about this incredible vehicle, the L100, really looking into the future. It is a actual concept that you can drive. Michael was telling us a little bit about it during the break. And we were going through a couple of things, just chatting amongst ourselves, Michael, and we should talk about them because I think our audience would love it. Les asked about the wheels of. I know you're an interior guy, but the wheels on the exterior, they look like they're rotating. It's really LED lights, right?
It is, yes. We actually reinvented the wheel. This is great. The guys did an amazing job with that. And the LEDs, they have a function as well. They're not just eye-catching and gorgeous, but they also show the state of the battery and how far it's charged, for instance, right? But the wheel covers make sure that the aerodynamics are as good as they can be. And when you drive it and you're following it, it's just amazing to see. These wheels are they're absolutely gorgeous, actually, when you see it.
Yes, he's Michael's breaking up a little bit, but as he was saying, those LED wheels are show the state of charge of the vehicle, which is really great. So they have a function. But Michael, we talked about this during the break, and there are a lot of aerodynamic cars coming out now. Mercedes has done them. Many manufacturers have done them, and they're all kind of getting that shape where they kind of swoop down in the back. Once again, this is an exterior question, but you're a designer, so you're deeply involved in all aspects of it.
Yeah.
Is that going to limit automotive design in the future? Because people would want to hit that coefficient of drag number, and maybe they say, well, it's going to have that kind of boat tail back, and it's going to have that kind of swoop in the back. to hit the aerodynamic number to really get good range, electric range. You know, is that limiting as a designer, or is that something you just have to work with?
It is something that we have to keep in mind for sure, right? I mean, we have to make sure that our cars are as aero efficient as possible, but there's different requirements. So it's not actually an exterior question; it's an exterior and interior question, because it's a balancing act between the best aero plus what people expect from the interior, right? So in this case, of course, for the Model L100, we had more room to do both. But for a lot of other vehicles, to say, okay, if there's a request for a 3-row, or what is the second row accommodation and how much headroom, that's going to be involving the overall design of the vehicle. So I think it's where do you place the emphasis? Is it going to be all on aero, or is it going to be about interior roominess and packaging, and what does that do? So therefore, it changes from vehicle to vehicle. We can make the best aero car, but you might not get this as good of a second row out of it, and the other way around as well. So it's not just an exterior question; it's more of an overall vehicle question. But we're doing an amazing job right now, actually, with the drag, as far as I was told, for the aerodynamics on this one.
The seating itself, it looks beautiful, and I'm sure it's very comfortable. Do the seats do anything else that maybe aren't being done now? I'm sure they probably heat and air condition and all of that, massage. But have you thought about, or maybe you already did, that the seats actually move or rotate or change?
So in the Model L100, the front seat is actually going into the 3 layouts, right? So it becomes from a footrest to actually a social seating. And it comes from underneath the IP. It creates a social seating environment where you can face each other, which is one of the benefits of autonomy. And then it actually rotates open for a more traditional driving position. And that's when you can also take control of the car. So within the same interior, we have 3 layouts, which is pretty unique. But like I said, that's kind of showing the flexibility of our interiors and what is possible. Now, as far as further or closer, I should say, to the reality, the seats are a crucial part in, let's call it a rejuvenation orchestra, right? So the massage seats by themselves are one thing, but what is displayed on that screen and what is the sound? We're capturing all these senses in there and saying, okay, this is what creates the most sanctuary interior, and the seating of that is a crucial part of that.
Wow,
Cool.
It really is incredible. We should also mention, Michael, that center console is actually a chessboard, or can be used as a chessboard, right?
Well, I think I need to explain chessboard. Chessboard is the working title that we used here. So the thing is that one of our designers saw his son play with this car, right? So we said, okay, this is how we're going to control the car, and it almost felt like a chess piece on a chessboard.
Yeah.
So we have this digital touchscreen, right, as a console. As you can see, you do need information, and that's the one. And this beautiful sculpted crystal piece, which is the speed form of the vehicle. It interacts, right? So you can actually place that and say, okay, this is my location where I want to go. You place it on the chessboard, so it's like strategically placed, if you like, and the car will take you there. But the interaction with it is just great. So while we use the floor as an ambience type of light screen or technology, the console board still is your source of information, but can also still adapt to whatever floor graphics you have.
Wow. Very, very neat.
It's just really, it just makes you want to get in it and try it out.
And the other thing too, Michael, I've read a lot on furniture and people potentially living in smaller spaces in the future, and what you've done with the folding seats and how they kind of reconfigure and become kind of multiple pieces of furniture is certainly something I think we're going to see even in home design for smaller apartments in the future. So, you're not having endless pieces of furniture. You have configurations of furniture and,
Yes.
really using a small space efficiently. So that's great. That is really, it's not only wonderful artistic design, it's also great engineering too, to make that all work and look great. And yeah, we really appreciate it. How did you choose interior over exterior, or did that just happen for you when it comes to design?
Yes, I did exterior for a while, and then one day I think I kind of saw I went to interior, and honestly, to me, that was a part where I felt directly very comfortable with. I felt comfortable with exterior too, of course, but the interior, the possibilities that are there, and every time a technology changes, and I'm not just talking about screens, I'm talking about materials, right?
Right.
The introduction of toxic absorbent materials, wow, it changes the whole interior, right?
Yeah.
So it's moving so fast that to me is where the challenge lies, and that's why I'm so happy to do interiors, because whenever somebody comes out with something, we're going to start all over and incorporate it and think about it, and so it's so challenging, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah,
Sorry, one thing. I know you just mentioned it, and I think it's great that you did, like, the engineering team to make it all possible. I want to give a good shout out to that, because my guys and me, we can draw it all day long, but they actually made it. And
somebody has to, you're right. Somebody has to make it.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Michael Thompson, Lincoln Interior Design Chief, we'll have to have you back on. This is a great conversation about the L100. Beautiful vehicle. Thanks for being on the show. It's time for me to say I'm Fred Staub.
I'm Les Jackson.
We're going to see you down the road. Take care.
Bye.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Cruise Control streams live every Saturday starting at 10 a.m. Eastern. Watch us live on Facebook and YouTube. Details are in this podcast's episode information.